Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what it is. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I need a choir. In the morning.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
First Sky Angels.
First Sky Choir. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Drinking, smoking, telling the news.
Yeah, we got an update.
That was dope. Being black all the time. All right. Still getting slapped? How loud is it?
No, we good. We good. Y'all let us know how we looking, how we sounding.
Are we back to back?
Looking the right way.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Yeah, I need my choir, man. I need it.
While the choir sing together.
Yes, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, all you chat chimers, all you ghost listeners, all you radio listeners. I am Paul Beeee, and this is Buddi3 Da Gawd, and this is a fresh edition. First Sky Omaha in the morning, Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. Thanks for everybody. Man, already people coming through on the good mornings.
Yeah, ping, ping, ping.
So I'm just trying to make sure that we ain't back to back. Hold on. What's
Yeah. They say we look good, then they might be at home laughing at us.
Yep. Well, look at them spooning again. Look at it. Thanks for joining us. Pops is up first, and thank goodness for another wonderful Wednesday. My personal favorite day off of the week since I was a kid.
Really?
I left from Las Vegas. Really? What makes you dig Wednesday so much, Pops?
Yeah. Was it like I feel like it was tied to a fond memory, like, you know what I'm saying, like Mama made meatloaf on Wednesdays type vibe. Let us know. Listen.
All right, we're looking good.
Okay. I'm more of a Friday, Saturday kind of person.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Sunday's my day.
Sunday's a good day.
Wednesday's always like, man, is it only Wednesday already? Like, I'm ready for it to be Friday.
That's why they call it Hump Day.
That's why Thursday for DJs and stuff like that. That's kind of like where the week starts.
I call it Friday Junior. That's Friday Junior.
We already at Friday Junior. Yeah, so yeah, let us know why Wednesday sounds good to you, Pops. Sue Kessler Hagen in the chat says good morning. Appreciate you putting a photo and a introduction in First Sky, friends of First Sky Omaha. That was cool.
Yeah, we might
welcome.
Might need to take a page out of your book.
That's what I'm saying. That might be a new requirement.
Man, don't be a real person. Not
are you human? Right? Are you human? Are you bot? Leia Keister said, "What's up, Wednesday? What's going on? How are you doing these days?" Leia Keister. Miss Erica Felt gives us a good morning. Looking good, sounding good. Hope you're feeling good. Appreciate you.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. Not too bad. I'm definitely better. Definitely better as far as the sick is concerned.
So no COVID.
Pretty much back to normal. I never took it. I didn't really have. I didn't really have the symptoms, man. It was definitely flu-like. I've had COVID before, and it didn't feel like that at all. It felt like old school flu.
Okay.
And then pretty soon after I got sick, the symptoms kind of started going away. So I just, I'm cool though. I'm good. Back to I'm 100%. I'm pretty much back to normal now as far as that's concerned. So
nice.
Been there a couple days.
Man, just in time. Just in time for me to touch down.
I was gonna say good timing, but we could be in town and. We got big things going on. Of course, Dr. Umar is going to come to speak on Saturday for the BAA 4-year anniversary celebration. So that's gonna be crazy. Get your tickets for that. I talked to Brother
Yeah,
Kasim last night. He said tickets is going fast, and it's gonna be a good turnout. Of course, they got a little award ceremony going on there. They're gonna be honoring us, which is
man.
pretty dope. So
Uh,
we love to have some chat chimers there. Get your tickets and come on through.
yeah, looking forward to seeing who else is going to be there getting the honors as well, man. Who are our contemporaries in the eyes of the community. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
Mayor Sanchez in the chat. He says, don't ask why First Guy has nice mics. Don't ask why they were nice headsets, nice cars.
Don't ask. Don't ask. Yeah.
That's what's up. Marlon Harrison says everything is good on my end. That's what's up, brother
All
Harrison.
right.
Good morning to you. Pop says you both look and sound marvelous. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning over here on Facebook. That's what's happening. Also, Miss Erica Phelps says right. Is it you or a stock internet pick?
All right. So I'm glad Miss Erica Felt brought this back around because I do got some real, feelings about this. We might need to really, because as y'all know, as the OG first Sky Omaha fans know, we like to live a life together. We like to come together and, step outside and be humans and step from behind the screen. And again, when we meet in person, it's always weird, like, oh, yeah, you're here. You're not behind the screen. You know what I mean? And I actually just saw an article talking about OpenAI. Again, OpenAI, the kind of leading AI company in their program, their platform, Chat GPT, which is kind of one of the most well-known and widely used AI platforms. And one of the higher ups, one of the founders, recently was quoted at a seminar saying that the capability of the next generation of chat gbt is almost too powerful. It can like mimic a whole person online. It can apply for jobs. It can make you call, like it can make you think it's a real person online. Like it's kind of dangerous. So we really do have to put in like our we trying to talk to the people to the people.
Yeah, this just chat. This show is definitely built around the chat and the club, the Friends of First Sky Omaha, family.
Yep.
So and it's now that we're getting into this boost to the roots, organizing, getting people together on things. We definitely need to make sure that we got all that we are all people and that we're all engaged. So we're definitely
Man.
we had to make changes on Friends of First Sky Omaha already too. There were so many bots coming in there, putting all kinds of crazy stuff on there and everything else. So unfortunately, we had to make some changes over there to start limiting some things. Now I got to, now it's like we can't just let the automation go.
Hmm.
Got to go in there and approve everything now, and all this stuff. That's a lot of work because and it's not really the Friends of First Sky Omaha people's fault. It's like the chat bots and stuff that come in there messing us up. So
Man.
yeah, got to constantly make changes. Speaking of Chat GPT, year anniversary since it was launched today.
Really?
Yep.
Oh
So
man, what a quinky ding.
I wanted to put out the question: how many of you have used Chat GPT in this past year? I know I have.
Man, come on now. Hello.
We've used it a lot on this end for sure. We will
Yeah.
be using it. We're pretty much like talking about the way that it can be used in order to be more efficient with news. I mean,
Yeah, man.
that's really the future. You got to work with it. So let us know if anybody in the chat, if you guys have used it, and let us know how y'all doing. What's going on with you? Is Hump
Yeah.
Day your favorite day, like Pops? How's your week going? You guys looking forward to the weekend already? What's going on with you? Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, besides, the flu, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about I've been in this new train of thought. I say on the show every day, if you believe in the concept of time, and I realized over the course of the time that I kind of took off for laying up here being sick, I have been believing in the concept of time in the way that capitalism wants us to
Hmm.
believe it.
Hmm.
I've been letting it stress me out. I've been feeling a sense of urgency all the time. I've been feeling like a scarcity mindset when it comes to time.
Hmm.
And I figured out that there's three kinds of time. There's the time that you are aware of and worried about. There's the time, the kind of time where you lose track of time on something, and then there's the kind of time where you agree upon a time and it kind of jives with your heart and mind that this is what I'm spending my time on. I'm not feeling like I'm wasting time. If I died right now, I didn't waste time on this thing. So
Mm.
those 3 levels right there, the level that I'm missing, the level where I do stuff to lose track of time. So when I hear like Pops is writing, he'll start writing his book or whatever, and then look up and hours have gone by, lost track of time. Back in the days when I used to write music, that's another time when you kind of just you're lost in the thing and lose track of time. I don't have enough of those things going on right now. I'm always conscious of time. How much
Mm.
time do I have to do this? How much time? What's coming up next? I got this report to do at work. I got this blah blah blah. And anytime I'm in a situation where I'm more conscious of time with everything that I do, not happy. So that's what I'm trying to do right now is eliminate some of the things that I feel like are pressing and get back to what I really think about time
Man.
and start engaging in more activities where I lose track of time. So that's what I'm on.
Okay. Sounding like intent and focus. If you don't really.
Not necessarily. That's to
Okay.
me. That's the third type of time is when you intend. So the third type of time is like us being on the show. We feel like we this is an important thing. We don't there's nothing that we really put in front of this. We've decided that this is the time frame that we're going to be here. That's our
Mhm.
intent. That's our purpose. And sometimes when we get into it, we kind of start losing track of time, and it winds up
A
past
lot of
2 hours.
times.
Yeah,
A lot
but
of times.
right. So there's a kind of combination of it there. So I'm talking about more of the things where you got to kind of be bold and just be like, whatever else is going on, it's just gonna have to, just like buying
Mm.
out the time,
Mhm.
so that you're gonna dive into something, focus on something, and not worry about when you're gonna stop or what's coming up next or none of that. How many times we get to do that in our week?
Man,
You know what I mean?
sounds like freedom. Sounds like freedom. Um,
So yeah, the
yeah,
search for
yeah,
freedom.
yeah, yeah. So with that, hey y'all, what are you setting your time on? What are you setting your intentions on? Let's
Yeah,
be intent with how we use our time. And
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I also want to know what are the things that you do where you lose track of time. That's what I'm more
Mm-hmm.
interested in.
Kind of like you see that who was that? Jamie Foxx, I think, the animated movie where he was a piano teacher and he like I think it was called Soul.
Oh, was that Jamie Foxx? That wasn't Jamie Foxx, was it?
If it wasn't, y'all, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, please correct me. Hopefully, you do know what I'm talking about. But anyway, long story short, in the movie, he's a piano teacher, he's a pianist, and like he loses track of all sense and time, and it shows when he's playing the piano, he gets into
Mm.
the zone, and like his spirit comes out of his body, and it's this whole spiritual experience. Yeah, that's kind of just
Well, he did die like right at the beginning of the movie, so
yeah,
he's the soul for the whole movie, I guess.
yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
but no,
You know how they do us in the movies, man. Gotta be a frog.
gotta die first. But it is, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about though. The zone, that lost in time. I don't have enough instances in my life right now where I'm in the zone on things, and that's where that's where you start getting. That's where you start getting old. Really,
Hmm.
when you talk about people getting old and staying young, they stay young because they are
In
not
the
paying
mind.
attention to time, bro.
The
They're
mind.
on some things that they're lost in, and that's that. Appreciate you letting me go on a little bit of a rant there with that.
Yeah.
I got some heroes in my life, heroes in the chat, like Pops, who was able to spend a lot of his day doing getting lost in what he feels like getting lost in, creativity, and that's what it's about for me. So that's what's up. Want to jump into the chat before we get going because
Yeah.
this is good morning section of the show, and I really appreciate everybody that's coming in. Also, Mayor Sanchez says norovirus. Not sure about. No. I don't think I had that either. I think it was just a common flu.
Mm.
He also said, "What is the name of the award?" That's a good question. Well, I don't know much about that. I just heard that they were gonna offer some of the community people that they want to honor in the community, give them awards. So that shout out to BAA for that. Can't wait for that thing to happen on
Man.
Saturday for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm seeing a post in here by John Carter. John Carter, good morning. Appreciate that. He says the Commission on African American Affairs has 3 commissioner openings. Those appointments are made by the governor. Please go to the governor's website, click on the board commissions tab, and apply. The commission is very powerful to bring economic equity to Black people across Nebraska, but we need the community's help and involvement. Call me if you have any questions, concerns, or just want to meet and talk. John Carter. I believe that's the brother that um, we were talking about having you on the show, weren't we, Mr. Carter? I'm trying to remember if I'm sorry, I lose track of. all the stuff that goes on with this show. We definitely need some a little bit more organization here. But yeah, we've been wanting to speak to you. I believe it's you from the Commission of African American Affairs. I didn't know that that was a governor appointed board, so that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's kind of news. It's kind of news.
Yep, yep. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Christy Nord gives us a good morning. Appreciate you guys coming in. Miss Erica Felt says Sue has been in my house, so she's real. Okay,
Okay, buddy system that
love
works
it,
too.
love it. Pop says I love Wednesday so much that for a while I thought it must be the day I was born, but it wasn't. I don't understand it, but I have more energy and excitement when Wednesday roll along. Interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
Pop said he loves Chat GPT and is subscribed to it for a while now.
Okay,
Let us know.
how
It's the
long? Kind of
year
curious.
anniversary, man. It's the year anniversary of Chat GPT, so let us know. Appreciate that. Amir Sanchez says, and then there is Morris Day in the time. Yeah, that's the only time I believe in is Morris
There
Day
you
in the
go.
time.
Time.
Appreciate that. Pop says, when I wrote lyrics for Always There, I sat down in the morning, didn't eat or anything, and looked up, and it was 8 hours later. I never moved. That's the life.
Man,
I'm trying to tell y'all right now, that's the life.
it's like that. I read for like 24 hours one time. I was just studying history and yeah, looked up. It was like dark.
Yeah.
Just kept reading.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna let y'all. We're gonna go ahead and start this show so we can get to reading on some of this news. Drinking, smoking, and reading the news.
Let's
Being
start the
black all the
show.
time. All right, y'all. First edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning happening right now. Let's get it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Once again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul B, Buddy to God, all of you, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. It is kind of a news Wednesday. We got a lot of things to talk about today
Yeah,
and
man.
getting set up for some pretty heavy interviews coming up as well. So, for those of you that don't know, we got a heavy week ahead in the final weeks of this last season of season 6.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Two and a
we
half.
2.5. Buddy will be in town. We'll be going to the BAA's fourth year anniversary here and talk to Dr. Umar. So lots coming up this weekend. We'll be talking to him. We also be talking to Dr. Cornell West on Monday.
Hey, West Side.
Yep. So lots coming up here this weekend and week for us. Let us know what's going on in your world as well, and we'll definitely try to keep you updated on Friends of First Sky Omaha and on the First Sky Omaha page, and even on the there's a kind of a group chat page on YouTube as well. They got a community page there as well, so we'll try to start posting things there. And let us know about some of the other platforms that you're on. Are you guys still on Twitter? Anybody on X still?
Yeah.
Let us know what's happening. We already are venturing into doing some things on TikTok pretty soon as well. I know a lot of people are on there and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're about to ramp up a lot of things when it comes to that, just to get the word out more, because
Yeah.
that's one complaint we have here in Nebraska. We never know what's going on when it's going on. There's too many different places you got to go look, and we're trying to consolidate everything to the HAPS on our end so that you can kind of know what's going on. So. And we appreciate everybody that provides that information too. Lets us know what's happening. That
Oh, yeah.
really helps us out.
Like a community bulletin board, if you will. So
Yeah.
keep them coming, y'all. Keep them coming. We appreciate you. We love you. But thank you, everybody tuning in. A couple people still rolling in. Judy Prinzler, Sister Gwen Easter.
There you
Yeah.
go, Sister Gwen Easter in the house. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking of earlier.
Yeah.
Tony Johnson. Let's see. John Carter said, "Yes, I am the chair of the commission." Okay, cool.
There
So
you
we
go.
did talk.
There you go.
We did talk, and we'll definitely try to have you on the show and talk about the commission a lot more if you're so inclined. That would be great. So, like we said, coming up Friday, we also got Anthony Rogers Wright coming up, who is the campaign manager for Dr. Cornell West. His presidential campaign. He'll be on Friday as well.
Man.
So, yeah, it'll be a good weekend coming up, and a good kind of next week for a lot of things that's happening in our world. and I'd love for you guys to be a part of it. That's definitely what's happening. So,
Trying to end with a bang.
yeah, man. It's good stuff. I'm glad some of this stuff came through before the end of the season because it's gonna be all right. Marlon Harrison said yes, it was Jamie Foxx talking about that Soul movie, Disney
Man,
movie.
yeah.
Mary Sanchez says Jamie Foxx, most talented man in Hollywood. He can sing, rap, dance in just one show. Yeah, he does it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever seen him dance.
I don't know either. Maybe the Living Color days. I'm thinking a couple characters.
But
Uh,
everything else, yes.
yeah.
Yes.
He's a very, very amazing talent. I think he did
Yeah.
such a good job on the movie Ray. It was ridiculous. That was like, oh, this man is an actor for real.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And then of course, if you ever been to his comedy shows, everybody, him brother will sit down on the piano and sing like Luther Vandross on
Yeah.
the show.
Was it Foxhole?
Yeah,
Foxhole comedy special? Yeah. Yeah.
super dope, super dope.
Yeah. Legend.
Legend. Speaking of legends, heard you ran into ODB's son recently.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Young Dirty Bastard, man. Ran into him on Monday. Was out at a dope event called Controllerized. Shout out to the whole Controllerized community. But yeah, he was just standing out there, just chilling, man. He just chilling, just ran into him. Met him actually a few months ago. Very, very cool dude. Trying to work him, to maybe come through.
Yeah,
We'll see. We can. It's still 50 years of hip hop, so we'll
right.
definitely love to maybe end the season with something like that as well.
That'd be
See what
dope.
we can work up. But yeah, definitely cool dude, man. Shout out to the whole Wu-Tang family. Shout out to Young Dirty Bastard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Atlanta, man. It's
That's I just kind of like want to highlight that, man. In a place like Atlanta, that kind of stuff happens all the time. It's same in California. I remember I run into people like that all the time in California. So shout out to the Wu Tang Clan. If anybody are Wu Tang fans, and
man.
Wu Tang's on tour still. And after old Dirty Bastard passed away, nowadays his son is kind of taking over the reins and taking his parts and he's
Yeah,
killing the game, making his father proud. Everybody says so. That's what's up, man. And that's the kind of stuff we're talking about when it comes to how it is that we want to make this kind of Atlanta Omaha connection. Never know, we might have Wu Tang Clan coming to Omaha because of a connection made in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
man.
So that's kind of what we're working towards, amongst other things for sure.
Yeah.
Miss Erica Phil says nope, it was Jamie Foxx. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. She was talking about somebody else. I don't know.
Somebody
He
else.
needs her coffee.
Judy Prince says good morning. Good morning. Tony Johnson in the chat says anybody attend Vargas event in North Omaha? Did not. But we are talking about having Vargas on the show, especially after what was in the headline today about Don Bacon that we'll get to. That's who Tony Vargas is running against. Don Bacon
Again.
has already gotten an early endorsement from the police commissioner, from the police commission office. So yeah, we got to talk about that. How much in cahoots he's been with that organization and what that organization has been like for us this past few years of us definitely talking about them. Yeah, lots to talk about there, and kind of would like to hear why they're so against Tony Vargas is kind of like okay, well, early endorsement for Don Bacon. Like there's been a few things he wants some police reform, so we'll talk to Tony Vargas about what we can talk to him about. We got questions for him anyway about some of his votes in the legislature. Some of the things that we thought he might vote one way with, he voted the other way. It's like okay, definitely got some questions. So we'll bring him on, and he had talked to me before about coming on the show pretty soon anyway. So since it's getting around that time where election season is coming, then he wanted to definitely touch base. So we'll definitely have him on and talk about a few things.
Yeah. But I will say I am kind of surprised to hear Vargas event in North Omaha. Don't really see him too often.
Election season.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my point. That's my point.
Definitely would love to speak to him.
Yep. I'm looking at the chat here. I see Roscoe Wallace in the chat. He says, good morning. I would love to come sit with you men and discuss my experiences with nonprofits in Omaha. I believe are in the business of profiting off our children. Okay. It used to be the dope game. Now it's the fake hope game.
Okay.
It's disingenuous. The funds through grants.
Yeah. Welcome. But yeah. welcome. Yeah. I would definitely, if you have any thoughts, I guess let us know. Are there any nonprofits you worked with, or what experience do you have in that?
Yep. We was just talking about brother Anthony Rogers Wright gonna be on the show on Friday. He's in the chat right now. Good morning to you. He says police union and not commissioner, FYI. So okay.
Okay.
So police union is the one that endorsed Don Bacon just recently. They're calling it an early endorsement in the headline. So I thought that was interesting. Roscoe Wall says people hustling off our children and they are dying. Holla at me. Right on. Anthony
Right on.
Rogers Wright, and he says that brother Vargas wants more police funding too.
Hmm.
Like I said, we got some questions. Definitely some questions and concerns. We'll bring brother Vargas has been a friend of the show. You know, a
Oh yeah.
friend of our mentor and a supporter, Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado. He was the one that introduced me to brother Tony Vargas. Tony Vargas is doing some things that we agree with, and there, like I said, there's some votes and some things that he's about that we need to have some conversation about. Definitely try to hear his side of the issue and ask him why he has done certain things. But also, you know, we're looking at election season coming up. It's either Tony Vargas or Don Bacon. What you want to do?
Man. And that's a whole nother conversation as far as candidates.
It really is. And that's when it comes down to it. You know, we talk about this all the time. We need to get people in seats. So who are the ones that are primed for that? Who are the ones that are going to be in seats? Is the
And,
question.
and it seems like a lot of times that conversation unfortunately does come down to money, finances. You got to have a certain level, as we just heard from Senator Wayne, in asking who is he vetting as his successor when he steps down and his term limited. And it does come down to what is your financial situation. Unfortunately, a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are, as we learned from the pandemic, about a 500, to $700 emergency away from having to make some very hard decisions about whether they're going to eat or put gas. It's very tight for a lot of folk, and some people who might have some great ideas and might actually have what it takes to really lead this nation to what we all feel like it should and could and would really like to be. But again, finances rearing its ugly head. So that's very interesting to see. And yeah, we'll definitely continue to look and try to figure out ways to vet and support some candidates who might not come from traditional backgrounds, if you will.
Yeah, that's what's up. Well, before we jump into the news, just want to thank everybody for coming in this morning early with us, giving us those good mornings. Do us a favor, share the show. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, share the show. We can get as many people in the chat as we can and have some good chat conversation. Shout out to the chat chimers. For those of you that are new to the chat, we often use the chat as if we're speaking directly to each other, which makes us have the best chat in the world. We don't have bots. We don't have trolls. We have people that are putting thoughtful comments in, thoughtful questions in, and adding to the conversation and having the conversation. Like, once again, addressing each other even as we are face to face. So, just a little reminder about how the chat works, and we really appreciate everybody. And also, when we're not on live, the chat continues over at the Facebook group Friends of First Sky Omaha. That's also where you guys are putting in articles that you want to talk about and things like that as well. So, thank you for everybody who has done that, who's been trying to follow the rules over there. We have to change rules up over there all the time because of chat bots and trolls and all kinds of things that
Yeah.
come on that channel. But we think that we've tightened it up, and we apologize for all the stuff that's been on there before. We were fighting trying to keep off the trash,
Man.
uh, and now it's just a matter of now we have to regulate every day. We have to add that to our list of things to do, is to regulate what comes in on there, so we can continue to have actual positive conversation that is going to go somewhere. So we appreciate everybody's patience on that as well, and everybody in today. Most definitely, it is a news Wednesday. I like some of the things that we just kind of put up to mention. Of course, Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway vice chairman, dies at 99. We knew that this is Warren Buffett's right hand man, the dynamic duo of financing. Here in Omaha, Nebraska, they're both in their 90s, so we knew it
Man.
was coming. So it'll be interesting to see how things change around here over Mr. Munger's death, but rest in peace. Also, I like the fact that KMTV Channel 3, which we're looking at, they've been doing some good stuff, man. One of the news channels out here, the mainstream ones, TV channels, is KMTV. That's Channel 3.
Mm-hmm.
They've been really kind of paying attention. They pay a little bit more attention, I think, to issues that are happening in our neighborhoods more than the other channels. So they've been doing some good stuff, and I appreciate them for putting out that it is tamale season. and that was kind of the headline that stuck out to me. So shout out for y'all knowing what I know around here. It's tamale season for sure. Appreciate that very much. Also,
Tis the season.
also,
I wasn't
yeah.
expecting it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Hey man, hey, tamales is life. Let me just explain something to you. By the way, Miss Erica Felt, I have your tamales in the freezer. We'll get together here the next day or two. Um,
Yeah,
Also,
making a
there
statement.
was a call yesterday. I saw a teacher friend of ours, Michelle Moreno's co-signing on that. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Uh, there
yes.
was a there was a call. I saw some teachers on my timeline tomorrow asking if South Omaha high school kids were okay. I was like,
Oh,
what happened? What
yeah,
happened?
yeah.
Seems that there was a call for that there's some kind of shooter at the school. Turned out to be a hoax. Turned out to be fake. Police looked into it, and it's not. They said they said they believe shots fired call at Omaha South High School was likely a hoax. Is the headline on
Yep.
that one too. So if anybody was wondering about that, I know a couple people hit me up on the text this morning asking, was there a shooting at South High? Looks like no, there was not. So appreciate that very much, and I'm glad that nothing's happened there. But man, when you see a headline that like that at first, when you hear something like that going on, you're like,
Yeah.
probably is happening. It's more likely that it's happening than not. So it's nice when you get some good news that it was a hoax. So appreciate that very much. And those are just some of the things we wanted to mention before we get into some stories and things like that. So really appreciate everybody who's posted things and Friends of First Sky Omaha and brought some things to our attention, and also all of our partners that we are gathering news from: Flatwater Free Press, KMTV, definitely Nebraska Examiner. Shout out to the work that they're doing for real, and even Omaha World Herald. Some of the things that are there, just reporters reporting in general, man. We need more, we need better, but we also have what we have, and, and we're thankful for that as well. So if anybody's interested in any of those things, let us know, because we're always putting together trainings and things like that for to build out the black media and black journalism here in
Yeah.
our neighborhoods as well. Like I said, we can have 50 more organizations that still wouldn't be enough in order to cover everything we need to cover. So that's what's up.
Man, as we say, journalism is activism. So let's get active. Time for some action.
Time for some action.
Yeah, man.
732. If you believe in the concept of time, and the action we're gonna take here is to go ahead and jump into some stories. So, buddy, what's on top of your mind, and we want to jump into real quick before we get to the next break?
Well, we can just kind of run down through a few things as you mentioned again. Republican bacon gets endorsed by the police union. So yeah, definitely want to dive into that here in a second. But also, state employees union. Speaking of union, is making demands of Governor Pillen in order to end work from home.
Oh
Kind of
yeah, yeah.
yeah, kind of a big trend that picked up steam over the pandemic. A lot of people working from home, and it was a kind of headline news recently that again Pillen ordered all state employees to come back into the office. But yeah, what do y'all think? How many of y'all are working from home? Kind of curious about that, especially those you tuned in right now. Are you on a working from home type situation? And what are your thoughts about that? Also, still education, a big conversation. Nebraska is actually going to have a hearing on mandates facing K through 12 schools and targets teacher training and student behavior. This is something that is ongoing, and I kind of mentioned it on Monday. Again, a big conversation over this last season and this last year, really, is of course the school choice bill, and that's not over. We're still kind of expecting more campaigns, more information campaigns to come out as we prepare to vote on that bill in November on the ballot. So again, education still a hot topic as even really the whole election season really heats back up. A lot of candidates already recognizing education as a big deal. But not just education, also was looking at what's going on with the homes. Again, Governor Pillen is making an emotional, personal plea for more foster and adoptive parents. So again, what is going on in the homes of our children? We definitely, as a community, have to talk about that because again, I think about 70 to 80% of the state's foster care system, or at least Douglas County's foster care system, black and brown.
Yeah.
So again, what will those foster parents look like? What will that situation be like? Yeah, what do we think about as a community with that whole situation? So again, a few questions. Not sure where to chat. kind of wants to go, but we kind of been talking about it as far as Senator Vargas. So we
Mm.
can't jump in there. Going on with this police union endorsement.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
again, election season is heating up, and we're still looking for candidates. We're still trying to find candidates, and hopefully, some different types of candidates, quote unquote, untraditional backgrounds. Will start to pop up, man, because I do think people are kind of getting tired of the same old. And this latest move is definitely, again, more of the same old. Big surprise that the police union is backing yet another Republican candidate. Again, Don Bacon. We have some very interesting feelings about Don Bacon here on this show. Some people not really for him. Some people, kind of understand, what he's at least trying to do. Big shout out to brothers Sherman Wells, Kasim, who's not afraid to kind of align themselves where it makes sense. But again, definitely would love to hear your thoughts on Bacon more. So definitely chime into the chat and this report coming out of Nebraska Examiner. Again, it came about 3 months ahead of the union's endorsement of Bacon and on the 2022 campaign, 11 months after earlier than 2020 and 9 months earlier than in 2018. So he's definitely been getting that support for quite some years. With the Omaha Police Officers Association says it announced early because members appreciate Bacon's support for certain proposed federal legislation, including bills bringing the health insurance gap between an officer's retirement and Medicare and protections for qualified immunity, which is a big one for us to look out for. Again, qualified immunity is kind of the shield, if you will, that makes it very hard to prosecute officers, especially in incidents like we've seen over several years. Actually, Sergeant Anthony Connor, who's the union's president, aka Tony Connor, uh, is quoted saying, "It's important for us to show support for Don for all the work he has done over the years and doing it as early as possible." Bacon, speaking at the union headquarters, said that endorsement carries weight in Nebraska's most competitive congressional district. So that is one of the big questions I have from this article: is how much weight does that carry? What does that mean for us as a community and kind of for the general landscape of the race as far as getting those types of, fire department, firefighters union, police union endorsements?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, um, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we haven't really talked about the union for a while. They haven't really kind of been on the radar too much. But last time we did, there was a lot of reason to, there was a lot of things, a lot of issues, and so and I think that when a organization like that comes out and endorses a candidate, I mean, it definitely put a bunch of thoughts in my mind about it. I definitely wanted to hear the reasons why. I want to dig in a little bit more to find out if he's, if he's on this law and order thing, what a lot of Republicans sometimes are on. We kind of, is it the same playbook? Those are the kind of questions that come up to me. And then also, what's if the only person that's running against him is Tony Vargas, then
Mhm.
how much of a difference is their policies when it comes to those things? Because I was under the impression that Tony Vargas was a little bit for the police as well in certain instances, certain things. I know that there were some things that he wanted to do to make some reform happen, but there was also some things that kind of aligned with the way that the police were doing things too. So those are questions that just come up. They're just things that come up in my mind on that. When I hear there was so much trouble, so many issues going on with the police union back in the day, back
Mhm.
a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, whenever we were really talking about them, they were in the news a lot, and we were talking about them a lot. Some of the stuff the head dude was
Tony
doing,
Connor.
Tony Connor, yeah, it was a little, it was disturbing. So then when you hear them chime up on anything, you kind of like, what they talking about? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that's for some of us, that's a mark against Don Bacon to be endorsed by that particular organization. So I don't know.
Again, how much weight does it carry? He seems to feel like it carries a lot of weight. And I definitely, as you're kind of talking about some of the tensions, my mind just went to the standoff between the police union and rap. If you remember, they had the pig head incident
Yes, sir.
at that. And I definitely think there's, well, It's not even, I think, according to this article, and obviously there's still some bad blood, pun intended, about what's going on, with that situation. And it does seem like the police union and just the police officers have some feelings about 2020 and who was still involved. I mean, that's one of the criticisms they have against Vargas. According to this article, it says Bacon and the union criticized Vargas for participating in local protest after the slaying of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer in 2020. Bacon said that showed disrespect for officers. The union has argued that Vargas's participation failed to acknowledge the injuries some officers faced during the protest. Vargas has said it is possible to express empathy for marginalized people who have experienced questionable interactions with some officers and still support the police. So, kind of to your question of where's Vargas's stance, it does kind of seem like he's kind of playing both sides, if you will, towing the line. But both things can be true. You
Well,
can
that's what I was
still,
gonna say. I don't
yeah,
wanna
yeah,
get into that both playing each individual side is a different side. Like,
mhm.
we gotta check the nuance on that, and that
Right,
makes
right,
sense
right,
makes
right.
sense to me, and that's and I'm more open to a cat that's got some nuance that can come and explain some things to me than I am that some people see things black and white the way that the union acts like things are. It really did stem from Freedom Summer, like you said,
Mhm.
2020. The 2020 is when we started, when we even the police union even came on the radar for us. That's when we started talking about them
Pretty much.
in a regular on a regular basis. So you know what I'm saying? It is what it is on that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
sounds like.
let's go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think you want to go to the chat. Sounds like
Yeah,
Wanda Lewis is kind of echoing what you're saying.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's just saying some endorsements can discourage a voting decision. So
That's
there
what I'm
you go.
feeling like that for sure. Yeah, appreciate everybody that's in the chat on this and let us know what you guys think. I like the question that Buddy asked. What are your thoughts on Don Bacon? What are your thoughts on Tony Vargas too? Love to hear
Yeah.
where you stand on all of those things. Tony Johnson said, "Find it interesting. No candidates, organization, or party have a proposal or recommendation for issues they disagree with. Just disagreeing with no solutions." I definitely, my mind definitely goes to, is there anybody else in the seat if we don't like who the candidates are? Is anybody else running or doing anything about it? Is anybody else you can endorse? Is it back to I mean, not that I want to make it easier than what it needs to be. You definitely need to dig into both candidates and find out where they stand on the things and see if you align on those things, whoever the candidates are. But yeah, it is. When I think about the black community in particular, um, do I feel represented completely? Not really.
No.
Not really. Nobody's really addressing the issues that we have with the police department or the police union as much. We're doing a lot to try to work with them. We're doing. I think a lot of these organizations out here are trying to do something to work with them, which is kind of like best we can do at this point. But who's really kind of voicing what we really feel about that? We're really thinking where we really stand on some of these things.
Hmm.
Love to know. Gwen Easter says, invite Congressman Bacon to your show. We've had him on several times. Bacon, Congressman Bacon, always calls us to. He used to call us all the time and try to get on the show
Yep.
because he was really especially back in the minus old days. He really wanted to make sure that he represented. And also, we always point everybody over to 95.7 The Boss. William King has on Don Bacon on a lot on
Yeah.
that show.
Regularly.
And they have regular conversations. So we just repost what William King is talking about because that's the conversation that he has there. But yeah, we can definitely have him on again if that's what you guys want in the chat and ask some questions directly and so on. Tony Johnson says, good or bad, Bacon is one that black Omaha leaders invite to conversations. Like I said, he invites himself to those conversations a lot. As a matter of fact, it was kind of funny because his office was calling us and was really like, well, we said we want Don Bacon to come. Are you gonna call us back? Like they was really kind of like,
uh,
yeah, like they were pretty aggressive. So yeah, he makes sure that he's where he is at, and he does it all through the year too. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, sort of, all through the year.
yeah.
Last time we talked about him really was during that parade when he got booed or something happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was that Juneteenth parade.
Of Juneteenth, yeah, he was out there getting booed, and Precious chimed up about it. Precious McKesson chimed up about it. So really interesting stuff. Sherman Wells is saying Roscoe Wallace, he's giving him the flex sign. So we'll definitely talk to Roscoe Wallace earlier in the chat. He had posted your brother touched on some of it when you introduced Willie Barney to the table. I've been coming down working with the youth for the past 6 years, driving from Sioux City, Iowa, to do the work in the light of the harm that I've caused in our community selling drugs. I don't believe a lot of the organizations are fully engaged in the work, and it shows in a lot of strategies that they put together
Mm,
that mostly never go anywhere other than conversations. But the real boots on the ground get overlooked, unfunded, and no support. And I prefer to come on and talk about it in person so people can see my face. I take this work and the city seriously as I am trying to clean up the messes that I spilled in the city. So I don't have time for games. Thank you, brothers.
okay.
Appreciate your post there, man. Your comment. It's always a thing to me when especially if people there's individuals that we all kind of went down the wrong path at some point, and if we can come back from that and see where we need to do something better, and we're actually out here doing something better.
Hmm.
Those are the best instances of stuff actually getting done. I feel like, because I feel like people like Brother Wallace here who's talking to people like Brother Kasim that was out here before. They know they were actually out there before, and so they know exactly where the problems lie and where and what to do about talking to the youth and who are in the same situation and so on and so forth. People that haven't been in them situations often are doing a whole lot of philosophizing about it and a whole lot of theorizing and a whole lot of speculation. But people that were actually in it can actually talk to the people that are actually in it, and
Yeah.
that always is more effective. So I agree with you on the fact that it doesn't that those boosts to the roots organizations always don't get a lot of attention, a lot of funding, which is one of the missions that we got here at First Sky Omaha is to big those organizations up
Right, right.
just
That's
as much
exactly
as.
why.
Mhm.
Exactly why we're excited to be with the BAA this
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah.
Which is exactly the opposite of what mainstream media will do. So mainstream media bigs up certain ones, and we are decided to even do this whole thing so that we can create our own headlines and really speak up about people that are actually doing the stuff that we think ought to be in the forefront of the zeitgeist as well. So
Yeah.
that's what's up. Also, Gwen Easter says, I don't trust Tony. He takes orders from the billionaire daughter.
Mm.
He also supported and helped with bills that helped push out daycare businesses in our community. He would listen when we told him that Buffett Early Childhood Institute was using families in South Omaha to push their agenda concerning South and North Omaha daycare businesses. So she says, at least Congressman Bacon shows up. The only time we hear from others is when they're running. Okay.
And I've had to be honest, man. I was definitely you know, more high on Tony Vargas, kind of in the early days back when we were like in Weatherize. I think we had him on when he was running. Kind of more in the COVID days when we kind of got more wind of his story. I actually had him on, I believe, when we had that roundtable and we were looking at social studies and some of the things that some of the South Omaha students were doing to get their culture and
No,
uh,
he wasn't there for
he
that.
wasn't there.
That was Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. But I do think it's just
We did have him on a couple things.
we saw him more. We saw him more, and now we don't really see him that often. Again, I know that he was a part of LB 531, which we have been talking about a lot. He was one of the senators that helped push that and supported that bill. But again, I would like to hear more from him. I just
It's us too, though. I mean, it's not just. I have seen him out and about. He's been at other things in North Omaha. It is around time for him to start ramping up for the election as well. But yeah, he was. I've seen him at meetings for the 531 thing. I've seen him out and about. He just has been on our show quite lately, but I have seen him kind of out and about doing some things. And like I said, I feel like he's we talk about east side all the time. We talk
Mhm.
about north and south side in the same breath a lot of times. But there's sometimes that we have to acknowledge north side has different situations or different issues than the south side does. And we can say that the other way too. South side, he's concentrating on stuff that's going on in the Latino community on the south side a lot, and that's kind of more his mission than it is to what's going on here in the north side sometimes. So that's
Of
just
course.
is what it is. But of course, the seat that he's running for is kind of representing everybody, representing everybody. So I see him put in the due diligence. I rolled with him on a Preston Love tour once. You know, he came on that tour, brought his daughter, and we kind of went around to the Culture House and all these different places. So you know, I see him out there, and this is way before. This is like last year. This is way before the season was here. But you know, he's still out here, kind of trying to talk to some of his constituents, and I'm sure that he does stuff out in South Omaha more than he does in North. But I mean, you know, in comparison to how much Don Bacon is out here, Don Bacon is out here all the time. And before I used to think that was interesting. Now I'm like, now that I know that there's a whole lot more Republicans in the black community than I thought,
Mm.
it kind of makes some sense.
We gotta talk about that too.
We
Like
don't really
that's
talk about that enough.
I
Yeah.
would like to, you know, if anybody like we need to find like a black Republican who's like staunch in their stance and yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be hard now. We just gotta put the call out. Roscoe Wallace in the chat says Bacon did cut off his past support for Trump. We talk about the Republicans that split that's going on between the Republicans too.
Hmm.
There's the Trump Republicans, and then there's the ones that are like not having it. Still, you know, when it comes to black issues, they're still kind of on the same page. Maybe just not as extreme as one as the other one, but it's still there. You know what I'm saying? Cameron Snipes gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. I know you got a lot to say and think on these subjects too, though, so we can't wait to hear from you. Gwen Easter says some people in Tony's community is not happy with him. I mean, he ain't gonna please everybody. Tony Johnson says we can say same about our own representatives and political affiliates. The criticism of our own not consistent with as critiques of others. Okay. Amy H. Dot gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate it. Kimmer says all my uncles are Republicans. If they ain't getting on no show. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, man, you know, the surprise to me has been just how many, you know, the surprises come because people have been speaking up saying, yeah, I voted for Trump. You know, 2 years ago, they wasn't saying that out loud. Not the ones I was talking to. So
Mm.
all of a sudden there was a shift and was just like, yeah, but what's Biden doing? You know, type of attitude. Like, see, this is why I'm voting for Trump. You know what I'm saying? It happened
So
when the Democratic Party started getting called out in this last couple of years in a big
yep,
way too.
yep.
So yeah, interesting stuff. The chat's still going off. Stephen Abraham gives us a grand rising and good morning. We made it through another rotation. Everyone, appreciate
Yes, yes.
most death. Ron's review says I thought history changed the communities from Republican to today that is Democrat.
Yeah. Like Michelle has given us that history several times as far as I'm not sure when. I'm not, you know, very familiar with the history, but yes, at one point the Republican platform did more closely, you know, resemble the needs and the worries of the, you know, black folk, you know, former slaves, you know, and there was a switch where
Yeah,
that became the Democratic platform. And yeah, again, Michelle gave us that history several times.
yeah.
Shout out to Michelle Trotskler, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Michelle. And you know, like you know, when we talk about Republicans and Democrats, what do they say? Two wings of the same bird.
Man, two
So
sides of the same coin.
yeah, man. So you know, it doesn't even make no sense to even determine, except for in the case of what Kimmer Snipes is saying right now. She says, "I'm a registered nonpartisan now," and Sherman Wells says, "So am I," which is you know interesting because we're talking about Dr. Cornel West coming to town. He's representing the Independent Party, which now that he's doing that, I want to know more about that party and who in our community, who in this state of Nebraska is in that party? Who's representing that party at all? Do we have any representation in that party?
Yeah.
Are mostly like we say all the time when we bring up independence. A lot of people in the chat always say, well, they're independent because they want to do, you know, they want some. They usually lean towards Republican, but they want a couple little freedoms over here or whatever. And then also, if you're an independent, you can really only vote on a Democratic side. So, what does independent party mean here in Nebraska? I'm definitely wanting to know now
I
that
mean,
it's coming up more.
what does it mean nationally? Like, you know, when you think of the structure of the Republican and Democratic Party as parties, you know, as institutions, is there a national independent convention? Is there a, you know, chair of the independent party is like, what, or is it just a bunch of people saying I'm independent?
Yeah, and still only have the choices that we have to vote.
You're still kind of victim to the system.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see because there's two things that make it interesting for me. Young people are claiming they're or more and more young people are saying they're independent. A lot of people are saying they're nonpartisan. What's the difference there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wanda Lewis says nonpartisan is not a party, so you still have to. Kimmer says that too. So you still have to vote one way or another. So that's the question too. Nonpartisan is different from independent. Is it different? Is there a third party that we're talking about here? What is Dr. Cornell West if he's running as an independent? What does that mean?
Yeah, I guess.
Lots of questions coming up on all those things.
Is that different for those of you who are saying nonpartisan specifically? Is there a reason you're using that language specifically? Is there a difference between nonpartisan and independent in your opinion, in your view?
And who do you have to? She says nonpartisan is independent. Okay.
Okay.
Kimmer says there really isn't any national structure. I've been researching it. There are some states who have mobilized though, like in California. Okay, so nonpartisan, independent means that you're not affiliating yourself with either party. So who does that? What is it, when it comes down to it, though? Who do you vote for then? Like, what's the? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what's the point?
And
How
how
you?
do you vote?
Yeah, and what does it mean to step back from being on one party or the other? What does it mean to be nonpartisan now? What does that mean? Because you're still gonna have to vote for Republican or Democrat, if I understand this correctly.
Right.
Let me know. Tony Johnson says nobody has an active or functioning black agenda. Black Omaha needs a plan to hold folks accountable. Most definitely.
Man.
Whitney Richardson in the house. What's happening? What's happening? She says it's called being in a flow state. Yeah. If you
She talking
talk
about
to,
time? She back on the time conversation?
see, she don't believe in the concept of time either. It's just she, she's like, it's still here. The conversation is still happening right
We
now.
still talking about that. We still talking about that.
Brother Anthony Rogers Wright says Tony is just trying to play it safe and into the center. He has been silent on salient issues, including genocide in Gaza, climate change, and the North Oak power plant that's choking out black folk. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like I said, these are things that when we bring Brother Vargas on, we can definitely ask him some direct questions on, and he's always been pretty gracious as far as answering questions that we have for him and coming on the show. So we'll definitely do that. Miss Kimmer Snipe says you vote in the general election in the state of Nebraska as an independent. You can vote on the Democratic primary ticket. Yeah, that's what I was understanding too. You can't report. You can. The Democrats have allowed independents to vote on their ticket. Is what I was told. Kimmer Snipe says each election has a primary election and a general election. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, and she is also an independent, and she cannot vote in primaries in the state of Texas. So we opening up what it means a little bit.
I don't know though. How does that does that kind of how do you get an independent candidate on the ballot then?
Independent's not a party.
But that's so you're still voting Democrat or Republic, right? Like you're still in that case, you're still to the mercy of who's Democrat who wants to run in the Democratic primary.
Or you got Dr. Cornell West who's running as an independent that you can vote for president.
I mean, but that's on the national side. I'm now thinking, how does that work in local politics? Like,
I'm
how does
still
that?
trying to figure out how it works in national. I'm trying to figure out how it works in both. Kimber Snipe says, yes, I was the part of the state central committee when voted to make that a thing, letting independents vote. But only on the Democrat side. Republicans won't let you vote if you're independent on their ballot. She says the same way you can get anyone on the ballot, you can get a certain amount of signatures so that they can have their name on the ballot. I mean, they was voting for D's nuts in Iowa for some stuff. You can get your name on the ballot. But what party? You know what I'm saying?
I remember that.
Yeah, it's classic, by the way.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah. Anthony Rogers Wright says 68% of black folks want Dems or GOP according to polls. Don't want Dems or GOP according to polls. That's an important sentence. 68% of folk don't want Dems or GOP. Good old party, grand old party, according to polls. They want an end to the derelict duopoly of both corporate parties. That's what I'm saying. This is
Man,
why young people are coming in independent so strong. We're
but I
tired
guess
of the two-party system.
we're in the conversation of what is the what does that new system look like though? How does that work? And we just now just now getting abreast on the this system over the last several years. Now we're in our kind of third or fourth election cycle. As a media outlet, doing this. So what does that new thing look like?
Yeah.
I am curious.
And I'm glad we're talking about this right now because we got something to dig into this weekend. If we talk to Dr. Cornell West on Monday, we definitely need to know what we need to have this down about what it is that what party he's representing and what that means, and then get some questions ready for him about what that means as well. So
Hmm.
most deaf, and also sounds like Brother Anthony Rogers Wright is going to have some things to be able to hip us to too. So when you come on Friday, brother, we'll definitely talk to you about we'll continue the conversation on this particular subject. We're trying to figure it out because we're kind of in the business of trying to get people aware of some things and getting people to vote. We're kind of in this middle ground where we talk to the folks that are in the seats, and we also talk to the folks that are doing the work on the Boost to the Roots. And a lot of those guys, a lot of those brothers have said they're just now starting to learn what it means about voting, and if there was somebody that was really addressing them about voting, and then they might even participate more. For the people in our community, especially that don't vote. I mean, for the people that do vote, it's tough because first of all, you got to most of the time it's best of whatever the best of both. I can't even. I always mess up this phrase.
Hmm.
The
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 lesser of two evils.
lesser of two evils. Yeah, number one, which ain't just don't encourage it. Doesn't feel good to have to like figure that out.
Still
It's like
equal.
forget it. I just won't do it. But if we're trying to engage, we need to understand these things. And young folks, a lot of young folks coming in. Right. Just a minute ago, we just heard brother Anthony Rogers Wright say what he said about the fact that 68% of the people don't want either party.
Man, that's a huge chunk. That's a huge chunk.
Feels perfectly right to me. It makes perfect sense to me.
Again, it makes sense, but
Yeah.
still, it's still a sobering number. Like that's a huge chunk. Like, is that 68%? What do you say, folks? Is that like all Americans? Is that But
Yeah.
and it just again goes back to the question: is democracy broken?
So Anthony Rogers Wright says nonpartisan is a Nebraska specific term, but essentially Indy as well.
Yeah. Shout out to
It-
Senator Justin Wayne in the chat as well, man. We got some folk listening. Appreciate you tuning in. He says Senator Chambers was independent or nonpartisan. And in Nebraska, if you're an independent, nonpartisan, then you would not show up on primary election, but would show up on general election. So okay, so if
Mhm.
there is a quote unquote independent candidate, even though it's not a party, but a candidate who's independent, they just don't have to do the primary.
Right. I mean, it's just saying primaries narrow down the choice within a party. So
Makes sense.
that's what
Makes
that's
sense.
what it's
Makes
for.
sense. Makes sense.
He says so. If you're running, Senator Wayne said, if you're running for a nonpartisan seat like state senator, let's see, yeah, like state senator or mayor, then you show up on the primary election, and top two winners go to general election. So if you're independent, you don't run in the primaries. You just have to get hopefully get your votes in the general because anybody can get enough signatures to sign up for that. Basically,
Okay.
interesting, man. Um, interesting stuff.
Yeah, Kimmer saying, Jesus. Hey, help us. Help us help you. Help
Man,
us help you.
we something that's got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. And like I say, a shout out to Dr. Cornell West, who's running as an independent. That has got my mind turning on this whole thing in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's been that way on my end. This anything that I've done has been it's been leaning Democrat because that's what if I'm registered as an independent, then that's the only places I can really vote in the primary is Democrat. And then so that's what it is out here, and it's particular. And I like the fact that they're bringing out. There's a lot of things that are particular to here. It's Nebraska specific. Some of these things. So I don't know. 8:04 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we successfully gotten through the first hour of First Sky Omaha in the morning on these subjects.
Why you say it like that?
I don't know, man. Is it, whenever we get to these pieces right here where we're collectively trying to figure out a thing, then to me it's like it's the best part of the show, but it's also the toughest part of the show because we switch from informing and giving and providing answers to some things to we got to figure this out. Let's all figure this out. And like I said, it's the best part of the show. I like it the best,
Mhm,
but it's tough to get through. It's tough to get through. It's tough to get to some understanding. When you're in a room full, right now we're in a room of, what do we got? 31 people in the room right now, at any given time. And there's a lot of good information. A lot of people that know some things. We got senators in the room right now telling us some stuff. So it's tough to put all that together and I think I feel the pressure of trying to come to the conclusion and find a fact
mhm.
before 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But I got to remember that the nature of this show is that we continue to talk about these things over the course of shows in order to really gain some real understanding. So I appreciate everybody's comments and everything that everybody's bringing into this. And I cannot wait now to speak to Dr. Cornell West and ask him about nationally what the independent party
Yeah.
means nationally.
Yeah, what this looks like,
Yep.
and again, we did our brother Anthony Rogers, right? We did while you're in the chat, kind of talk about your visit to Minnesota and some of the things you're saying about where people are and just the political charge and leanings as we go into 2024, and just very interesting, yeah, to see where this is going and see how much support brother Cornell, Doctor Cornell West will or will not receive. So yeah, definitely looking forward to speaking to him. But I did want to acknowledge another comment in the chat,
Hmm.
Mr. Stewart Knight.
Hmm.
In the chat saying black people fought and died for personhood status, and corporations, feminism, and gender politics took it over. And I did want to pivot. Yeah, Paul, I did want to pivot to another article that we have and another, kind of thing we got to figure out, and really a conversation we got to have because this is something we have learned from the senators. Again, over the course of time, having these conversations and looking at, as we prepare for a session, we talk about a bill, try to get support for a bill, and then we see, where that support ultimately lies. Um, it's interesting. It is interesting. Again, this is not an indictment or us saying whether or not we do or do not support certain issues. But we got to make the juxtaposition. This coming out of the Omaha World Herald, Nebraskans speak out against proposed gender affirming care regulations. And to keep it short, man, again, the article opens up saying the vast majority of the 77 people who spoke at a 12-hour public hearing Tuesday on proposed gender affirming care regulations all sang the same tune, that the regulations create unnecessary barriers for transgender and non-binary youth in search of medical care. And again, just stopping there, we're making the juxtaposition because we're still looking for, again, in a situation where Nebraska is one of, if not the most overcrowded prison systems in the country. Again, not California, not Alabama, not Texas, Nebraska is the most overcrowded prison system in the country, if not number two. And we can't get any real reform. There's no effort, no real interest shown by the state at large to change that. And who are, what is the population of people overcrowding these prisons? Us. Us. I actually have two people that are very close to me in prison right now in the Nebraska prison system.
Same.
Maybe three. And nothing has been done for these people.
So this article jumped out to me because of just I'm glad you stopped right where you did. The point to me on this thing, because of the fact that we have Senator Justin Wayne, Senator Terrell McKinney that are coming in that are talking about the bills that they're trying to push for prison reform, for all kinds of different reforms when it comes to that, and they say the same thing every time. It's not a sexy enough bill for people to come up and really support in the way that other bills get supported, other bills get fought as well. So to me, I looked at those numbers and I was like, okay, so next time Senator McKinney puts something out there about prison reform, we at least need 77 people up there to testify. If other issues can get 77 people, we should at least get the 77 people as well. And that's what kind of stuck out to me about this particular article. We've been hearing a lot about what's going on with gender affirming care, and the fight. We watched the filibusters all through the legislature. We've seen a lot. We've seen a lot on this subject, and like you said, it's not. We're not here to say one way or another. To me, the point of this is to see exactly what kind of support, what kind of lobbying, what kind of things happen for certain issues that doesn't happen for issues when it comes to the black community and issues that we are dealing with, like prison reform and the other things like that. So that's where I'm on that. Tony Johnson in the chat says other marginalized groups in Nebraska have game plan with their vocal lobbyist leaders. Black folks has missing voices,
Mm,
and it's not just black folks. It's also this issue. There's not a white group out here that's fighting for prison reform. There's no
right,
groups out here fighting for it.
right.
So so yeah, that's what's up, and I really appreciate being able to glean that. We're back to our roots on this one. We read an article from Omaha World Herald and got to read between the lines and apply some things to our community that wasn't their point, but is our point. Our point is that we got to remember what the senators are telling us is that when they are up there trying to push reform for parole and child prisons and everything else everybody seems to be about. We don't have the numbers. They're up there fighting by themselves, and the black community, the community that affects the most, is not coming out and supporting this. So next time that one of them things go down, or something got to be fought, or something got to be endorsed, I want to see 77 of us down there, just like for this thing. That's all I'm saying. Tony Johnson said black organizations focus on reentry because that is where the money is for nonprofit. Follow the money. Interesting.
Mm, mm.
Anthony Rogers Wright said, my bad correction, 53% of folks say they will look to third party if Biden, Trump are nominees. 53% is still huge.
Yeah.
Miss Erica Fell says, my 80-year-old uncle called me from Oregon to tell me how ridiculous our governor is. His proposal to pass legal definition of sex in the state as if it's only based on genitals. The governor's saying the thing, and the point to me is that there are groups out here that have organized and gotten together to fight these things.
Man, and it's quite interesting because even with her putting it like that, again, like the headlines that are coming out around certain issues are so loud that people across the country are hearing it, seeing it, and it's drawing attention and support either way, whether you're in support or not in support of it. But here we are in Nebraska, and the inspectors general can't get any information about prisons. So they not even talking. They not even saying what's going on, bad, good. They're not saying anything about prisons.
Roscoe Wallace in the chat says the senators need the community to support reform! Exclamation point. Basically, care about our people when they are incarcerated and when they return. That's what I'm talking about. Sherman Wells in the chat, good morning, says that's why certain groups of people that's in the community get zero funding because they disrupt the highly profitable jail system. Nebraska don't want reform. They want money. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tony Johnson said Preston Love got a bus or two. Just saying. We already talked to Brother Love. Brother Love said he's willing to put us in them buses and drive 77 of us up there.
Yeah, and he did. He did gas up the buses. The only issue is 2 or 3 people signed up, and we can't have Brother Preston Love gassing up buses for 3 people.
Come on, man. So we need people and money to get them buses on the road. But that's the thing. I mean, if we thinking about missions of ours, we constantly, every time we do a show, we're thinking about our mission. And if our mission is to try to, this seems like part of that. You got a bill happening that needs to be fought, or a bill happening that needs to be endorsed. When it comes to things that happen in our community, we need our community. I'm not even going to ask for people outside our community because that's the allies conversation is a whole nother thing. I'm just talking about our community. We need to get on those buses, and there needs to be 77 plus people up there. And we need to, and we also have lobbying things happening here as well that we come across. As soon as lobbying got on my radar, then I realized that there's organizations out here that got lobbying schools happening. They're trying to build, there is some grassroots, lobbying stuff going on. If we can get it organized, then that's the thing. So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah. And shout out to Kimra, I think, who's one of the ones who's been plugging and letting us know that, she does the lobbying school. And I think the Nebraska table also has lobbying classes. So yeah, we need to get on that. We we have to exercise and be in the same rooms.
There you go. Whitney Richardson says, I'm definitely in that 53%. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Maggie Miller Jenkins in the chat, good morning, says, what I'm
Morning.
hearing is, I'm sorry?
No, I'm just saying good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. She said, what I'm hearing is that we need more activists attached to this issue. Most marginalized groups that suffer under oppression focus on the separation, not the solidarity in the struggle.
Mm.
Yeah.
I like how you put that. I
Yeah.
like how you put that.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us on this. Kimber says facts because I went to the Preston Love thing and ended up taking the passenger myself.
Man, see, like just come on, just hop in with me. Just hop in with me. You don't even gotta. Yeah.
You gotta spin the gas on this bus right now.
Right.
That's disheartening, man. And you know, it's so funny too because I even talked to a lot of people that are just like, what are y'all doing? What's Kimber doing? What's anybody doing? You know, everybody doing some things. The difference is you can do a thing, but you need the support. You ain't gonna do a thing unless you have the army of people behind you to help you do the thing. That's just what it is. With anything, that's what it is with anything. You gotta have your supporters. I often tell people about growing up in California. When you grow up in California, you run into celebrity after celebrity all the time. They're always in the public eye, and they always are, and a lot of celebrities are just out there, and you're just like, how do you deal with people hating on you all the time and you know saying stuff about you all the time and all the haters? He's like, and most of them say haters don't exist because they're not in my world. I only concentrate on the people that love me. I don't concentrate on nothing got to do with them. And you put more attention into the people that love you. Now you got an army behind you to do what it is you're trying to do. Forget the rest of them.
That's how we built this.
It's exactly how we built this. So yeah, that's, you know, number one. If it's going to take people of like mind to get together and feel responsible to each other enough to get together and go make a thing happen. We don't be asking a lot. We don't need to talk about who all go. We don't need to do that black thing where we're like, well, who gonna be there? Just come. Let's just all go. It don't matter if we got disagreements within the 77. We need 77 people up there. We all can agree on this thing. You want to keep your family members in jail under bad circumstances?
Man.
Kimber said, ask me what I'm doing. We can chat. For real.
Hey.
You know, Kimber come on here anytime she wants to tell us what she's doing and help get people riled up. That's the reason why we made season 6 called Boots to the Roots is because of people like Kimber Snipes, Amy H. Dot, and the people that are actually getting up and making some phone calls and going over to some places and actually doing some things like that. So yeah, they've been doing a thing or two. Like keep up. Find out if you don't know. And we'll keep on talking about it on here each time too. BAA, same thing. We got a huge weekend coming with BAA.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we talk about them all the time. Black Agenda Alliance is boots to the roots, getting things done. We talk about anytime they have any announcement, they're the first thing on our list is what we're gonna say. We're gonna tell people what they're doing, so y'all know. We got some opportunities to do that with some other organizations now too. That people that are open to us being able to talk to them about what they're doing, or come on the show and tell us what they're doing, or whatever the deal. And we'll keep on doing that. People got to be informed. But I think that the real thing is like, let's recognize the people that are trying to organize the thing. All you got to do to be an organizer is say, hey, y'all want to go up to the legislature today and fight this bill? Hop in my car. Let's roll. And all you got to do is say, yeah, let's roll. Like, we ain't got to make this thing complicated. We ain't got a who's going to be there type of thing. It don't matter. Let's roll. Let's ride. Like to say in California. I'm going to continue on the chat real quick before we go to a break. Miss Hirgefeld says, it seems that those who are the loudest questioning others are the ones personally doing the least. Tell the truth. Also, Maggie Miller Jenkins says, people want to see a path forward, and most of what they're seeing is the same song and dance with different players. The game of politics has shifted. If we organize and focus on the solidarity of the global struggle, we can shift the narrative to reclaiming our humanity.
Beautiful.
Love that.
Beautiful. And you know that I said it a couple years ago now, as far as like we've had the civil rights movement and you know, it's time for the human rights movement, us recognizing each other as humans.
There you go.
Know, that Rainbow Coalition vibe.
Man, I just heard Angela Davis speak on Democracy Now, and she was talking about the fact that people are like, well, we had the civil rights movement, and nothing really came of that, and where a lot came from it, but not enough. And now here we are again, and there's going to be no time like that again. And Angela Davis was like, that's not true. Black Lives Matter movement was the bigger movement than the civil rights movement was back in the day. There was more people marching on more parts of the world.
Mm.
So the fight continues.
Oh yeah.
Lots come from 2020, man. It's interesting that we're on this side of 2020 talking about these things because a lot came from Freedom Summer that we talk about it locally, hyper locally all the time because of what happened around here. But worldwide, a shift changed when it came to that. If nothing, no momentum comes from that, from what happened in 2020, then we're in trouble. If there's no momentum there, we're in trouble. But I can guarantee you, there's a whole lot of people that are running because of 2020. I believe this show is because of 2020. I believe what Culture House is doing is because of Freedom Summer. There's a lot that's going on from that, and it comes from this idea that you just mentioned right here. Is we got to talk about humans and bring back love and people
Man,
and care again.
all of that, all of those high ideals, man. All of that, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, all of it.
Yeah.
Because and the biggest indicator for me is what's being done to stop it. As Precious McKesson always tells us, if the voting didn't matter, like if the energy didn't matter, then we wouldn't be seeing some of the things that we're seeing out of the likes of Mississippi. Who again, I told you, Mississippi just passed the House resolution that if you miss 2 voting cycles, you could completely lose your right to vote.
If you,
Also, was looking into some bills coming out of Arkansas. Some things happening like, Jim Crow, is that you?
if you don't if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't do so much to suppress it. Is what Precious quote says all the time, and we see example after example after example, like the ones you just mentioned, that are trying to oppress the vote. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't do so much to try to stop you from doing it, and that's just the bottom line. Got to figure it out. Back to that idea about just the movement. Dr. Umar, who will be on Friday
Yeah.
on this show, when he was on a couple weeks ago, talked about that too, man. Black community got to have more love for black folks first. We got to think about that first in order to make anything move. Where's the love?
There you go. There you go. And,
Appreciate everybody that's in the go ahead.
just gonna say, man, with that, let's go ahead and take a break. I was gonna say, First Guy loves the kids. Speaking of Dr. Umar, we do have some education topics to talk about, some family things to dive into. So yeah.
Well, stuff. We'll be right back. Thanks for all your comments. We'll get back to them as soon as we come back from the break. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. Stay tuned, y'all. We'll be right back.
Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Living in the HIC. Brothers all surrounding me. Ain't no futures here. Just lives full of pain and fear. Time for a different stroke. I'm tired always being broke. Me and just about all my folks. Tired of being without hope. So it's time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. It's time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd,
Hey.
all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners. Thanks for everybody who's chimed into the chat. Man, you guys are going off. Appreciate it.
Yeah. About a lot of things.
Appreciate it. Margaret Miller Jenkins says, I've been organizing since 2020. And the missing piece is people seeing themselves reflected in the achievements of the movement. Like that. 2020 was an interesting time, man. There's some folks that a lot of folks that I know of the Caucasian persuasion gave me a call. Like, what are we doing? Where can we go? Where can we march?
Man.
They were like, man, what's people that I didn't expect. I was like, well, how did you get fired? I had a lot of conversations like, how did you get fired up? And a lot of them said, we've been fired up. We just been too busy working. We out of work. It's the pandemic. We got time to be mad and go out and do something. I was like, okay, well, give me that energy when things clear up.
Man, you got to go back to work.
Some of them have, right? Appreciate that. Rome's review says, "First Sky is your vehicle, baby. They'll take you anywhere you want to go. By now, I'm sure you know."
Hey, man, the mayor.
Mayor's a rapper, I think, is what's going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the MC. Stuart Brother Knight in the chat says, "Black Lives Matter didn't include black men, yet capitalized off black male death." I think there's more nuanced approach to what Black Lives Matter did. I think there's some things that didn't quite work, especially in the end. But the spirit and the energy was there in the beginning, and I think the biggest thing about that one for me was that it was worldwide. People forget about that. Biggest protest ever in the world ever.
And I will say, maybe for the first time in U.S. history, like, Black Lives Matter movement made it cool and made it like, even if you really didn't even support black folk, like, you were still out there like, hey,
Black Lives Matter.
Right. At a time when supporting us would get you killed.
There's a poster of the BLM poster in every window in Benson
Man,
on the Benson Strip.
Whenever can we remember in U.S. history where it was like that socially to support us? Even if you really didn't, you were still trying to get down.
True that. But I will say one thing. It's one thing to support socially. It's another thing for anything to come of it.
Word.
The whole world had to march in order for Chauvin to go to jail for a minute.
Man.
Back in the chat real quick, Tony Johnson said, how are Nebraska Democrats making my vote matter? Every coin has two sides, for real. He's saying that others doing it, Nebraska always late to the game. By the time we get to it, we mess it up by not knowing how to organize and strategize. Yep, very true. But I think there are people especially we got people right here in the chat that know how to strategize and organize and have been doing that. So now the question now is beyond that for me. The question now is who could we get to come on in? I'm tired of even worrying about the people that don't get it. It's now about the people that get it, and let's just go ahead and make something happen with the people that get it. If it's the chosen few, if it's a small number, then it's a small number. We'll have to organically grow it, and that's just how we have to do. Kimmer says in a place like Omaha that's very segregated, you have to be crafty creating the human massage. But I agree. My pastor was preaching on that same message about our vote Sunday. Our elected officials got him kind of fired up. There you go. Anthony Rogers Rice says, and we have to be honest that the civil rights movement was not milk toast. Look, bro, you had to come on this show. You're gonna be big words.
Milk toast capitulations.
Milk toast capitulations, not revolution. Woo! I think there was some. that's a strong statement, bro. Milk toast capitulations. I think that's probably right in some ways. In other ways, I think there was some actual change that happened. Can't discount John Lewis. The work that a lot of people did. I don't know. We'll see. Well, we can talk about it.
I feel like the civil rights movement, just the head of the snake got cut off before it could really get to where it was going.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as the shift that Dr. King was making towards the poor people's movement and really moving towards the real issue, and it's classism. And again, the lie that is racism was only used to trick poor whites, quote unquote, poor European descendants into turning on, the African and Native Americans.
Most deaf.
That's really it. So, go ahead.
But I was Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just and then as far as Malcolm X, shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, brother Leo Lewis, who I've had a very interesting conversation with this about as far as the move Malcolm was about to do before he was assassinated and bringing the charges against the United States before the United Nations and moving again that whole movement was pushing forward to a classism and human rights struggle. And again, that's where I feel like we as people have to pick up the mantle.
Yeah. Huey Lewis heads Black Panther in jail. Fred Hampton assassinated, who was saying no matter what color you are, there are only two classes. Martin Luther King moving to the People's Party. Malcolm X. Even John F. Kennedy. People that were kind of leaning towards this, even just leaning, not just heading it up, but the leaning towards it, were assassinated. And that was the culmination of that was the head, like you said, getting cut off from the rest of the movement. So it's another reason why I feel like Black Lives Matter movement was legendary as well, because it was a movement that didn't have leaders. It wasn't built on leaders. You can't cut off the head of an organization that don't have a head. Right. So maybe it may be the next go around that we got to take examples from all these things and create a different kind of movement that takes in consideration all the chess moves that was made on us the last two.
I mean, I think it's all of the same thing. It's all of the same thing. We're in the movement. We're in it. We're in it now. The same way that the killings of Mike Brown and George Floyd led to Trayvon, going back to Trayvon Martin, like this movement has been going on. This energy has been cultivating for some time, and it's no different than the lynchings that led up to the movement in the 60s. It's the same. It's the same. I actually got a bar like police bullets are the new nooses. Because again, it's the same thing. We're seeing the castration and assassination and just outright murder of Black and brown brothers and sisters before our very eyes, and it's leading to a new movement. What is that movement? And again, it has to be a movement rooted in class struggle and human rights.
Maggie Miller Jenkins is saying something similar. Says, just throwing it out there, in the 60s, the solidarity was so strong because it was centered on a single issue: human rights. We're devoting so much energy defining what separations we see, and not on the baseline of human rights. Every struggle will inevitably strike the BIPOC community first and hardest. That's why we always frontline in every fight. You know what? Thank you for saying that. Heard a report this morning that was talking about on Marketplace this morning, as a matter of fact, about these houses, the housing market, and what's happening with the housing market, and it's almost like clockwork. I knew it was coming. They said, and this, of course, hurts the BIPOC population the worst. And it hit me that every single time we talk about an issue, how many times do you hear this on the news and read this in wherever you read your news at? It's going to affect BIPOC people the hardest. That is like the narrative for every single problem that there is in this country, and it's going to get diluted because you hear it so much all the time. You always hear this all the time. There has to be some kind of message shift. There has to be some kind of strengthening of the message. There has to be something else going on here, because if you hear every time you talk about what's going on economically, if something's a downturn, something's happening. There's something going on in the housing sector. There's something going on in productions, in jobs, and the very next sentence out of your mouth is, and this is going to hurt Black and people of color the hardest, and people of lower incomes the hardest. Then if you hear that every time, then first of all, can you find any hope in not being the case? And second of all, don't you think people are getting desensitized from this phrase? That you gotta hear this all the time. There's got to be a kind of shift in phrase. There got to be a shift in some message that you got to figure it out. I don't know. I think you got to figure it out. Tony Johnson in the chat says DEI was watered down response to Black Lives Matter. Yeah, there's a whole lot of watered down. Definitely turned out to be that. A lot of watered down responses. Anthony Rogers Wright says, love Sister Precious, and maybe we should be asking why the Democrats are complicit in suppressing Black votes, i.e., the Biden crime bill. Okay, that's a question I hadn't thought of directly to ask. Precious always is down to come on to the show. We can ask her those things, and we're planning on having her on anyway, because election season's coming up. We really want to hear what's going on, and she's the representative from the Democratic Party for us. So we want to hear, what her thoughts are on exactly the reason why in the black community, especially, people are leaving the Democratic Party. What's going on? We need to know. Kimber Snipe says, right, because in 2021, when I was running for mayor, I came across several doors with Black Lives Matter signs, but I can see them inside refusing to answer the door. Woo. Oh, man. That's rough. Oh, man. Man.
Should have tore their Black Lives Matter sign down. It's coming with me.
All Black Lives Matter. You gonna open the door?
It's coming with me. But glad you didn't.
Or wrote
Maybe,
don't.
maybe
on
you
it.
did. Maybe you did.
Ron's review says, I'd like to see book made for the community's second graders in 3 parts. 1, important people. 2, important places, buildings, and 3, local historical events. Even if it's just a pamphlet. Good idea.
Okay. Trifold.
Yep. Let me try to see. There's a whole lot of comments going on here. Appreciate you. Wanda Lewis in the chat says, let's have Maggie Miller Jenkins on the show if at all possible. Yeah, I'd love to have you on the show if you don't mind coming. She said universal income was completely forgotten when MLK died. Universal income, another issue. Sue Kessler Hagen says the 2020 protests made me realize how much the black communities are still treated so differently. I've always been supportive of black people, but never realized how much more needs to be done than sitting back and being silently supportive. That's what got me fired up. There you go.
There you go. And there's some real situations that came out. Those are some of the positives that came out of 2020. And the young folk, I think, is the biggest thing that came out of 2020. Like I'm seeing again, high schoolers and kind of up now, getting more politically active. Like that whole situation for the Tulsa situation with the Trump rally. That was young folk going on social media and buying up tickets and organizing and again impacting a rally, buying up tickets to where people couldn't actually attend because they bought the ghost tickets or whatever, bought the tickets and didn't show up. So again, I'm definitely seeing that as a legacy of 2020 and also hearing news of some of the hard conversations that young folk were having with their families, like mom and dad, why did we always make these kind of jokes? And kind of really having those conversations at the dinner table that a lot of, young European descendants was like, hey, this ain't cool.
So true. Terry Crawford is reminding us that this is not, that even the 60s wasn't even the first interaction, wasn't even the first movement. We've had several civil rights movements. She says Civil Rights Act and movement in 1866. You can go back as far as 1866 with this issue.
I mean,
the 60s was the second interaction. Any subsequent movements stand on the shoulders of giants like Malcolm and Martin, Thurgood, Paul Murray, and countless others.
It seems like, actually, this is why I also say it's every we're in it now. It seems like it's every 60 years. And you and I have had this conversation again. If you do the math and look at it, I can go back 4 iterations. It's every 60 years, just like you said, 1866. And what Emancipation Proclamation was 1864, 64, 65. So you have a movement coming out of the institution of slavery. And again, what she just said, 66. And people trying to, again, a social change. Then you move up to the 20s. 60 years later, you have the likes of Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, the whole Garveyite movement, which impacted Omaha. Again, Reverend Little, the father of Dr. or Brother Malcolm X, was a Garveyite in Omaha, Nebraska. So that movement had an impact that actually, again, led up to the civil rights movement 60 years later.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then according to your mathematics, 60 years after that,
2020.
Black Lives Matter movement.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. Amy H. Dot says we need to make more space for the younger generation. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Wanda Lewis says, I appreciate the fact that you've studied the topics at hand and it's not just an idea. Yep. Terry Crawford said, let's be clear. There was a civil. That's one I just read. I appreciate your comment there, Ms. Crawford. Anthony Rogers Wright says, and you know what killed the civil rights movement, the radical elements of it, nonprofits like the Ford Foundation. Very relevant to us here in Omaha, which we are considering a nonprofit town, nonprofit state. The nonprofits have to be held accountable. We gotta figure out the ways that some of them are doing some good. Figure out the ways that some of them have been hurting us, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody giving us some feedback here on this. It's been a great discussion of everybody who's talking in the chat. And man, if you miss any parts of this show, go back and check out the show in its entirety on Facebook or YouTube, especially, and then go back and check out the chats from both platforms, because there's chats from Facebook people, chats from YouTube people here. We're actively trying to figure out a way where we can, when we go back to review these things, we can have all the chats in the same area for everybody to take a look at and go through. We've been working on pulling out some of the best comments and chats in order to feature on our new website that's coming up as well, starting season 7. And of course, season 7 is going to be starting January 15th. So again, if you don't know, we're in season 6 right now, Boots to the Roots. We do a season, 2 seasons a year is how we do things. And we usually take a break around December the 15th. This year, it'll be December 15th that we'll be taking a break. So that means we only got a few more weeks left in this season. And then we take a month off, and then we come back January 15th and start season 7. And season 7 is going to be very, very different. We're changing up a lot of things for season 7, but it's still based around having conversations with you, the chat chimers. We definitely want to turn this First Sky Omaha family and the chat chimers into more of an action group, not just a discussion group. So we will be having more events where we can all kind of meet face to face and really kind of take some, it'll be we consider this a digital neighborhood association meeting is what we're having right now. So we're going to turn this into some physical meetings as well. Yep. Just to move on here real quick, we say Tony Johnson says we need to call out the William O'Neills in Black Omaha. He said earlier, we got more William O'Neills and not enough Fred Hamptons.
Okay.
Brother Knight says tells one thing for sure: whites stay consistent as pertains to black suppression.
Yeah, every 60 years.
Yeah, I mean it is. I want to do more thinking on that topic too, because I'm thinking about generations within those 60 years and how things fluctuate.
Yeah.
And I always have this theory that when you're growing up and you're young and rebellious, you're trying to not be like your father, so you're more like your grandfather. And your child is trying to be not like you, so they're more like your dad. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on here in the generations that might end up where there's a point in there where things start to lack or things start to not be so present. And then all of a sudden something gets really bad, and then all of a sudden you got a movement. So like I would like to understand that progression of the 60 years that you talk about, like what exactly happens within the generations of people that make it so that kind of every 60 years this kind of thing comes out. Amy H. Dot says philanthropic foundations aren't forever. Money will run out, and then what? What will 10 years from now look like 20 years?
Right.
Looks like what it looks like right now. Because there was nonprofits and foundations and stuff like that in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Projects built in the 70s, all kinds of stuff that happened that made it to where we have economically depressed areas right now and overcrowded prisons right now. That's what happens when philanthropic foundations run out of money, on top of other things.
Well, that's the big thing about us diving into, kind of following the money last year and looking at disinvested and really asking the question of, and that's why I want to talk more about, Brother Willie Barney, because there are people who kind of already have answered those questions. Like we're just now asking and, kind of thinking about those things on a collective level. But there are already 2050 plans. There are already plans for 20, 30 years down the line. And as I've been saying, looking at where Omaha is and where Atlanta was, is the writing on the wall for the next 20 years. And, it is a thought and feeling that I had, like, what will Omaha days be like 20 years from now?
It's a good question.
Will it have the same support? Will the community surrounding the areas be the same? Or will we have the Native Omaha Day Parade down 120th?
Nah. Um, Here's my prediction. It's gonna get stronger, and Native Omaha Days Parade is gonna go back to 24th Street. It's gonna be that's our historical district. Let me explain one thing. Reason why I'm feeling this way. Um, we are coming to a collective conclusion that it's not going to be nonprofit businesses that create wealth in our city. Jay Carter in the chat right now. Good morning. Says business ownership empowers us to own the field of socioeconomic success. Nonprofit existence keeps the beggarly element alive and retains the sharecropping mindset.
Ooh,
I think that
exactly.
we're all on the same page about how we have to create economic development in our areas. We have to have true business, and we're on the zeitgeist to that. Even us right now, First Sky Omaha. What First Sky Omaha is doing right now is making that Atlanta Omaha connection. Buddy, for those you don't know, is in Atlanta. He's born and raised in Omaha and is in Atlanta right now. And one of the reasons why is because some of the economic development that's happening in Atlanta, we would love to mimic here in Omaha. And I think that a lot of us are working on that, including us right now, even not consciously. We're working on it. We're working on seeing what a economically viable area of black community is doing.
Yep.
If you want to find out how black business is working, go to Atlanta and look at it. And Atlanta is about the same size as Omaha. There's a whole lot of parallels here, and I feel like Omaha is behind behind the line on a whole lot of stuff. But at the same time, we have the potential in order to build things out in the same way that Atlanta has built things out, and I think people are seeing that.
Hmm.
People are all seeing that. Pop says that was my thought, Paul. It sounds generational, and that there seems naturally to be these periods of re-education on the radical situations. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the other part of it, man. That's the reason why they're so about trying to ban books and do all the stuff they're trying to do now. They're trying to not to. You're trying to make it so that you don't understand what was happening. You got to relearn it,
Man.
relearn it all. Wanda Lewis says that they have their plans. We need ours. That's right. Amy H. Dot says, "What do we want it to look like? What do we need to make it happen? We need to play the long game." Very
Yes.
true. Tony
Yes.
Johnson says, "So who's going to tell certain folks their services are no longer needed?" I don't think you need to worry about that. I think we can let them do what they're doing in their lane and shift our focus. Shift our focus on things. RG says, y'all of course, know Trishana, makes an ice cream shop, relocated to Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There's a Atlanta Omaha connection happening. There's still a mixins here in Omaha, and there's a mixins down in Atlanta, and that's because she's following the money. She's going where black folks can do business, and bringing that energy back here. I think she's one of the most important business owners in Omaha because of the fact that she is not just stayed in Omaha. She's made a connection to a economically black, economically viable place.
Yeah,
Like
and
Atlanta.
really, she's not stopping there. I've seen in several posts she's mentioned that there's people who's interested in franchising her business nationally. So it might be the next Baskin Robbins. You never know, coming right out of Omaha. But what does that mean for Omaha? What now? What? How does that inspire the next business owners and not just nonprofits? Like this is the type of thing that we need. And again, talking about those 60-year movements, talking about all of that, it is all of it has always been based on economic base and kind of talking about families. Where are we as far as strong families, building strong communities, and therefore building these types of movements. Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali, those two movements, the Garveyite, the UNIA, and the Moorish Science Temple of America, they were made up of families and business owners and people who are industrious. The civil rights movement was supported by business owners, blue collar workers who invested in that. Again, we need it all. We need it all.
Yeah.
People who are working on the political level, organizing, and people who are just working and funding this thing.
Yep. Most def. To your point about the next generation getting inspired by stuff like Trishana's doing. One of her workers opened his own ice cream shop. Youngest ice cream shop, youngest ice cream shop business owner ever. 14 years old in Omaha, opening up his ice cream shop. So yeah, it does work on the next generation. Tony Johnson in the chat says, with all respect, Paul, that logic of letting them do what they do is like saying keep the snakes in the hen house. It depends on how you view it, man. I really don't. I don't see it as is. unless I'm in the game of trying to go for nonprofit dollars, unless I'm in the game of going for grants in order to do everything I got to do, I don't see them taking no food out of my mouth on that account. I see other businesses that are trying to be that are trying to bring economic development to the area as more viable than any nonprofit organization doing anything. Nonprofit organization money is like cherry on top of stuff if you get it. It has to be. It can't be the source of how your business is run. Just can't be. We're going through that now. We're going through us trying to push to make it so that we have viable business happening. We're a for-profit company and decided to go for-profit instead of nonprofit, even though sometimes we get nonprofit dollars. But we have learned you cannot depend on none of that stuff. Over time, we understand that. But at the same time, if I'm not in that game, if I switch my efforts to how do we make viable for-profit companies that we can hire people and buy property in Omaha, then we on a different. We ain't even crossing paths half the time.
Yeah.
I think that you know what I'm saying. It's the worst that they're doing is enticing people to come out of the for-profit sector and go to the nonprofit sector and try to make a check there. And are they helping certain situations out? Nah, but there ain't, you know what I'm saying? They ain't taking no money out of our mouths if we're working for our own, if we're doing our own. They're not stopping nothing there. There's some instances that they are, and they need some checking. Gwen Easter talks about this all the time. There's instances where nonprofit organizations came in and took over childcare, and that messed up the childcare facilities in our neighborhoods. Yeah, that needs some checking. I'm not saying that we don't need to check none of that. I'm just saying we need to put more effort into building economic development on our own for our
Right.
own than we do need to be battling nonprofit organizations all the time. I just don't see it.
I mean, to that point, really, it's not even about telling them we don't need their service. It's about creating an environment where we just don't need their services. Like, you know what
Or
I'm
or
saying?
telling them what we need their services for, and
Right,
that's where they better get it. That's where they better shoot it
right,
because
right, right.
that happens. That can happen too.
Right. But to my point, with your example with Sister Gwen Easter, if we were on the intention of building economic, we wouldn't be so enticed by the Susan Buffetts who are coming in with all this free child care. Because let's just be honest. Most of these families and the Susan Buffetts and these nonprofits because it's free and people really can't afford the services that they need. But
Right.
if we had jobs, if we had an economic basis, if we had like, hey, come over here so you can actually have the money to pay so we can actually pay Sister Gwen Easter what she deserves to make and people don't have to go to the free situations. That's my point.
Yeah. If we had our choice, we would want our kids to be in not in situations in our neighborhoods where our kids are getting watched by our neighbors and the people that we know in our community. That makes more sense to me. And a lot of skeptical, even though it's free, there's a lot of things that are skeptical about that. They talk about programming. They talk about drugs. They talk about there's all kinds of things. There's fears when it comes to some of these organizations because they're not just here to watch your kids. They're here to educate them in the way that they want them educated, control them. There's a lot of issues, and the black community is well aware of these issues. It really sometimes just comes down to what can you afford. They got to go somewhere so you can go to work. So you're right. Economic development on all levels will create more choice for us, allow us to do how things we want to do, and there wouldn't be a need. These foundations and nonprofit organizations are only exist because there's a need. If we can get rid of that need, they wouldn't even exist in the first place. What I've learned about nonprofit organizations is they're not even supposed. A lot of them are not supposed to even last forever. They're supposed to be there to solve a problem. After that problem is solved, they dissolve. That's what's supposed to happen. We've turned it into an industry here in Omaha, so we gotta shake that. Sherman Wells says you can't control humans. Ain't that the truth? Wanda Lewis says one of the reasons why many nonprofits has disappeared dependency.
Hmm.
Nonprofit says disappeared dependency. Sherman Wells says, "Oh, that's why you do what you do and don't put no energy into their business. Save it for your own efforts." We just had a Giving Tuesday yesterday, and there was a couple organizations that I'm down with that needed to get nonprofit dollars. There's some nonprofit organizations out here I'm down with. For instance, Benson Theater, where I work right now, is a nonprofit theater.
There you go.
And I can see the work that they're doing in the arts, and I'm down for giving them donations so they can keep the doors open and keep on having, stuff on stage like Hanky Panky and all these shows that black folks are producing. I'm down for that. But at the same time, we were on the show thinking we should come up with our own list for Giving Tuesday for for-profit businesses and
Yep.
businesses that are doing stuff like the BAA and other places. If there's a big campaign to give on Tuesday, they're not included on those giving lists, but we can create our own list and support some of these organizations ourselves
And do it monthly.
and do it monthly, like some of you guys are doing here for First Sky. That's what's up.
Yeah.
You're teaching me the model just by supporting monthly. What it is that we're trying to do is to have these conversations and gain some support for each other. Tony Johnson said more jobs means higher need for childcare. Can Black Omaha support both simultaneously? What do people with money do with their kids?
Put
They
them in
don't
daycare.
put them in daycare. Sometimes they're able to have somebody stay home. Some people allow the older people in their families to live and the kids can be around family. There's a lot that everybody's doing to think more jobs, or not just more jobs, to think more jobs, but also to think higher paying jobs, living wage jobs that allow for all these things that we've talked about all the time. You'd be able to pay Miss Gwen Easter and Miss Erica Felt to watch the kids and, all those types of things. So, I mean, there's again, a lot of the issues that we have come from not having the economic development we need to have, and that always comes down to it. Miss Erica Felt says, unfortunately, Nebraska is creating its own child care crisis. They created the need for some of the nonprofits and will continue to keep them in business. Again, those nonprofits are here because there's a need.
Yeah.
If we can figure out how to eliminate those needs, we wouldn't need the nonprofit to be here in the first place.
There you go. And we wouldn't need to tell them we don't need your services. We just wouldn't need it. Naturally what happened. Man, Many Fresh in the chat. I definitely appreciate your comment. Saying, good morning. I think all people should read Powernomics by Claude Anderson on how to build economics and how to empower Black America. I'm always here for a book recommendation. Yeah.
Appreciate that. I haven't heard of that one. I'm definitely going to look in. Shout out to Man He Fresh, man. Finally, he found my favorite little Chinese joint. Saw me eating, was like, "What's up? I'm Man He Fresh." I was like, "Hey," I love running the chat chimers out.
Yeah, living live.
That's what's up. Stuart Knight, Brother Knight says, producing what is consumed is the key. Love that. Love that. Miss Erica Fell says, child care is deep in all quadrants of the city. Stuart Knight said, clothes, appliances, vehicles, healthcare, etc. Producing what is consumed is the key.
Man, so on that note, actually, just to like to remind people, there is a Black Business Registry pinned at the top of First Sky Omaha, Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page on Facebook. Again, I was looking at a video, the wealth distribution in this country, and it's just crazy how lopsided this thing is, and how do we, kind of start to even that out? Is take the money and circulate it in your community. So I forget the name of the store, but support Brother Sherman Wells and the store and all the businesses that are in the store. He was just telling us about if we can pull up that flyer. Let's support businesses, and that's businesses that receive this LB 531 and this North and South Omaha Economic Recovery Funds. How are they going to last and grow? We got to support it.
Brother Wells, if you're still in the chat, let us know where the Essential Shop is. I'm not seeing the address here on this, but check it out. Look it up. I'm sure it's on Facebook and everywhere else. Check out the Essential Shop. Also, I was looking at the news today. Let's see. I believe it was. Where is this at? I can't remember where I got this article from. I think it was from KMTV. They added again where to find women, BIPOC, and LGBTQ plus owned businesses to support this holiday season. Let me grab this link real quick.
I got it pulled up.
Flow code. Okay, cool. I'll put that link in the chat too. That's another area where you can find some businesses to support as well. So yeah, lots to it, man. We got about 2 minutes left in the show. Just want to say, Wanda Lewis says, I support North Omaha community partnerships. You can see what they are doing with diapers, food pantry, furnitures, relocating the disadvantaged, helping to bury those who lost their lives through violence.
Yep.
Appreciate that. So Omaha Community Foundation, the North Omaha Community Partnerships. Definitely got to look more into that. Brother Wells said Essential Shop is at 4924 Ames Street. So let's definitely hook that up. and check that out. Especially around this time, you're gonna go, skip some of these places, man. Go get your stuff from some
Yeah.
of these places here.
Tarjay don't need your money.
They really don't.
Yeah, Target don't need your money. Neither do the Waltons. The Waltons don't need your money either.
Man. Before we get out of here, man, we just want to keep on making mention that we're still looking for Mr. Levi Blake. If you have any information, put it on your Facebook page and put hashtag where is Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Put it on your Instagram, put it on your TikTok, wherever it is that you do social media business. The hashtag is where is Mr. Blake for any information. This flyer right here was when everybody was going out on November 16th to look for him in their own respective communities. We were still doing that. That wasn't just for this day. So anytime you get a chance to kind of walk around your neighborhood or go or drive around, keep your eyes peeled, check out your neighborhoods and see if you can see places where people might be going. The collective endeavor is aimed at locating the missing person's 80-year-old Levi Blake, who suffers from dementia and has been missing since August 17th. Your assistance in this joint effort is crucial in the search for Mr. Levi Blake. Call 402-444-4123 with any information if you can. Appreciate that very much. And we'll be talking more about this later. We got there's some things that we're trying to put together as well and help put together in order to search for this brother. Boost to the roots. That's what season 6 is about. So please keep your eyes peeled for Mr. Levi Blake. And also before we get out of here, Nina Elizabeth Harlan is missing as well. Age 33, Native American sister. She's about 5'2", 130. She was last seen on November the 13th. If you have any information here about Nina, please contact the Omaha Police Department, 402-444-4600, extension 6. Nina Elizabeth Harlan. Here's a picture of her that we have on the screen here if you're just listening. And you can, of course, you can always go back and check this out on Friends of First Sky Omaha. We'll put these back up as well in order for you to keep it on top of mind. Keep your eyes peeled, please. Appreciate that very much. Some details on her on this flyer as well. Left bottom lip piercing, Chinese tattoo on the left of neck. So there's some details there. You can kind of peep through that and check it out and keep your eyes peeled for the sister Nina Elizabeth Harlan as well. So appreciate you very much for allowing us to spend a little time on that before we get out of here. Definitely we'll have a more extensive haps on Friday. And don't forget Friday, it's going down, man. Got Dr. Umar on Friday as well. And
Brother Anthony Rogers Wright
coming. Brother Anthony. Yeah, we had to move some things around. I think
yep.
Dr. Umar was supposed to be on today, but he had to change to Friday. So Brother Anthony Rogers Wright is going to be on, and Dr. Umar is going to be on Friday, and then of course Dr. Cornell West is going to be on Monday. And so there's going to be some heavy shows. Definitely get your questions ready. Definitely get ready to tune in. Tell a friend that these things are going down. This is a crucial time in the last few weeks of season 6, and hopefully we can get some questions answered and get fired up for over the break by talking to these brothers who are doing the work.
Yeah. So don't forget Saturday is going down. Come out with us at BAA. Yeah.
Man, straight up.
It's going down in a real way.
Dr. Umar is coming to speak December 2nd. I talked to Brother Kasim last night. He was like, tickets are going, man. You better get your tickets now. Definitely check it out.
Yeah,
you can always go to, right. You can always go to $sign BAA Omaha for the Cash App, and you can go to the PayPal by going to info@baaomaha.com. That's where the PayPal is at. So go ahead and get your tickets there, and keep those two handles on deck, because you can also donate to the Black Agenda Alliance on a regular basis through those two outlets as well. So definitely check them out and definitely see us. We're gonna be there. Buddy's coming in town. We're gonna be there Saturday. It's going down, man. 4:00 at the AOS 4224 North 24th Street. It's gonna be a heavy weekend, a crazy good weekend. And I look forward to seeing all of y'all. And please, Chet Chimers, show up to this. Let's represent over here for the BAA for their 4th year anniversary, and for Dr. Umar. Appreciate you very much for that. Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get out of here, man. You got some words for the people?
Yeah, man. Big shout out to everybody. Again, kind of got a little out of control with the time. You know, if you believe in the concept with the conversation, lost track, as Paul mentioned, as one of the forms of time. But as always, man, talking about the things that need to be discussed, and we appreciate everybody who's joining that conversation, and letting your minds be free, letting your voices be heard. Catch the same time, same place. Again, looking forward to touching down in Omaha with y'all. So let's live a life together a little bit. Hopefully we can see a couple of you out and about. If you haven't already, go ahead and purchase your tickets. We'd love to see you come and celebrate with us on Friday or on Saturday, excuse me, as again, we not only honor the BAA and their 4 years of work and pounding the pavement, but also we're receiving an award. So, kind of celebrating the work that we're doing as well, man. So appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We thank y'all. Catch us same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. In the meantime, in between time, Paul Beeee.
Word.
Take it away.
Man, appreciate everybody again. Go check out the Essential Shop. It's that season where everybody's buying. So go ahead and buy from, North Omaha businesses, man. It's right there on, let's see, what was the address again?
Ames, 49th and Ames.
49th and Ames. Appreciate that. 4924 Ames Street.
Yep.
Definitely check out the Essential Shop. Miss Erica Phil said they also have Still Poppin' Popcorn.
Okay.
Still Poppin'. They also got the Island Chill, bro. That's my joint right there.
Come on, man. Get you some gear, get you some snacks.
Man.
Yeah, all right.
Sherman Wells said he will be working on the next thing with Mr. Blake soon. As we finalize it, will update us. Appreciate that.
Yeah, some updates.
Man. Yeah. Gotta have updates. Wanda Lewis says, I also support the BAA, who has been working with our young people in gun safety training and other relevant programs. Man, support the BAA. They're doing some really boost to the roots work in a real way. Amy H. Dot says, thank you for bringing up Nina as well. Of course. Yep. Yes. Wanda Lewis says, marinate on these topics. That's right. Think on it. Pop says, this show seems to go so fast. It's incredible. That's that losing track of time. I'm telling you, that's the best time. That's the best time. That's the best time in existence is the time you lose track of. Thanks for another wonderful Wednesday and see you all on Friday. Appreciate you, Pops. RG is the saying again. Y'all got to consider going 3 or 4 hours. Man. If we can get to the point where we can quit these full-time jobs, then maybe we can extend some things. Whitney Richardson said, this discussion was so good. First Sky is changing the world just by facilitating these discussions. Wow, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that for sure.
Powerful. Thank
you. Yeah. Miss Erica Fell says, have a great week. I appreciate all of you greatly. Please drink your water and be good to yourselves.
Yes.
Also, a shout out to Tamika Reese. Sherman Wells earlier said the NOCP North Omaha Community Partnership is founded by Tamika Reese. So
Meese.
I'm sorry, Tamika Meese. Excuse me. Yeah. And I really want to get into this organization too. It's coming up on the radar. It's coming up in the zeitgeist a lot, just naturally. So it really makes me want to go seek out the organization. Maybe bring Ms. Meese on, talk about it, and so on and so forth. So we'll definitely do that.
We've had her on before.
Yeah, again, I'm talking about some updates on what's happening with the organization and put it back in everybody's frame of mind.
Yeah.
About the organizations that are actually doing some things. Shout out to Kimber Snipes of One Omaha as well, really killing the game. So I really appreciate that, man. Sherman Wells says, seeing the body of a 10-year-old baby in casket will change your life, bro. Heavy stuff going on in our community. The family of the 10-year-old that passed away, prayers and thoughts to that person, that family. Can't imagine what the father's going through right now. A lot of the news, man. I got a little disheartened this morning when I got up and saw that there was a lot of I think it was an Omaha local section, Omaha World Herald local section, and it was blackface after blackface after blackface on some kind of crime, some kind of thing that was happening.
Man, yeah.
Not feeling that.
Not at all. And speaking of that, actually, a story we didn't get into, but we'll definitely have to have conversations in later shows. Gun violence as a public health crisis being explored by the U.S. Senate, a Democrat. So we'll definitely kind of keep our eyes on that conversation and what that designation might mean moving forward.
Yeah, we're still waiting on what racism as a public health crisis means. So
right,
we'll see what this one means.
A lot more conversation to have.
Yeah, man. Brother Wells says, I've spoken with him, talking about the father there. Spoken with him many times since being in jail. He is mentally in a bad place. I can imagine. For those who don't know, this brother, his 10-year-old son died apparently by his hand. He thought he was a burglar in the house, and so you can't. So prayers not just the child who passed in the family, but also the father, man. Appreciate you, Brother Wells, for reaching out to him, and yeah, this is what this is for right here, man. For us to get that report from you to be able to have spoken to him directly, and somebody in our community that is going through a serious struggle right now. So, oh man, don't even know what to say about that. Just prayers.
Yeah, and I'll say thank you to Sherman for always being there. You know, in some of the toughest situations for our family out there, man, the people in the community. So,
Yeah.
man, definitely shout out to Sherman Wells. Prayers and condolences goes out to that family. Big shout out to all of you for tuning in. And I don't know, Paul, take it away.
One last thing, man. Just want to say, the way you can support Brother Sherman Wells is to buy untamed items as well. So put your Cash App, Brother Wells in. Put your storefront in. Whatever it is you got. Support Untamed. They're also doing the work, and that is also how Brother Sherman Wells is able to be here for the community in the way that he does. So please support Untamed as well. And Brother Wells, before we get out of here, if you can throw a Cash App or something in there too, so people can have that, or put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha as well. We'll post it there.
Yeah.
And we're making that list, putting that list together of our Giving Tuesday list.
Man, it's gonna be a thing, y'all.
It's gonna be a thing. In the meantime, between time, there you go. $ Unified Nation. Please support Brother Wells and all that he's doing. Looking for our missing, supporting our troubled families, just being a general human being to the Black community in general, and is also in league with the BAA. They've said several times the BAA and Untamed are like one organization. So you supporting them, you supporting us all. So we appreciate that very much. That's what Wanda Lewis is saying. That's what the BAA and Untamed is all about. There's a reason why they teach gun safety, passionate about our community. There you go. Well, it says I'm a member of the BAA, NOCP, and KNOSE, which I need to learn more about. Okay. Well, Steph, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We'll have more conversations and we'll talk face to face on Saturday as well on some of these things too. But stay tuned for Friday. Once again, we'll have a powerful show on Friday. Definitely tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you then. Want to give a shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thank you very much for all your great conversation and your great comments today. If you missed any parts of this show, I definitely say go back and check it out on Facebook and on YouTube. Read all the comments. That's where the real conversation is popping. So definitely check it out. And we'll see you on Friday. Stay tuned. Friday's coming. It's going to be something. Get your tickets for the BAA event on Saturday. Dr. Umar speaking. Get your tickets. And we'll see you we'll see you out there, buddy. I'll see you. Well, I guess we're gonna be on the show Friday before you come out. You coming out Friday afternoon, right? Yep. Sounds good. We got it all planned out and we're ready to go. Can't wait to see all y'all there. Meantime, between time, take care of yourselves. We'll see you then.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any